right, so in the last video, we stopped with me putting the transmission in with this RRP spur gear, right, attached to the Vanquish Products aluminum housing to the transmission. All the gears inside here are hardened steel. Now, I've decided to change the plan a little bit because this is the beast. We have quite a bit of history with this truck. We've been running with it for years, and I figured we might as well give it a little extra oomph. Not just a restoration, but maybe a little bit of an upgrade. Now, something cheap, relatively inexpensive in my opinion. Level 3 RC on eBay. At the time of this filming, from what I understand, is still selling these products, and they're not that expensive. I'm sure sales will spike. Go check them out. This is an SCX dual motor mount made out of aluminum. Now, he does a ton of aftermarket products. He doesn't even know I'm doing this right now, but certainly I've been using it for years. Project Overkill in the beginning used and still uses 2 of these motor mounts. Now, a lot of the new folks here that are watching may wonder why I would want to have a dual motor mount. The answer is simple. 2 motors means twice the torque, not twice the speed, twice the torque. Why is torque important in a vehicle like an RC like this? This is a Tekin 35 turn brushed motor. For those that have been watching the show for years, I actually would call this fella Old Faithful. This is a hand wound 35 turn competition crawler motor. What does that mean? That means that inside the wires are actually hand turned, which gives this particular motor more torque. Well, holy cow, if I have a huge torque motor here in a 35 brushed setup. The reason why I go brushed is because it can go into clear water. For example, not seawater, but river water, lake water, that kind of idea. Brushed and torque just kind of go hand in hand. Mainly when you have brushless, where there's not little brushes that are touching the common here that are making the electrical circuit go back and forth. Simplicity, folks. I'm not going into great detail there. You get a lot of power output. So if I have 2 of them mounted up to this transmission, lots of juice going through to the drive lines. Now, this is a Robinson Racing product, if I got that right. I believe it's an 87 turn or a 70. I don't think this is a 70. I didn't mean turn, tooth. This is an 87 tooth spur gear and slipper clutch assembly on a Vanquish Products aluminum housing transmission. Now, inside there's hardened steel gears, also from Robinson Racing Products. Wow, what a mouthful. That's what she said. The reason why I did this was to make this a solid unit, right? Normally, when I have a transmission, I'll leave something plastic on there for it to give in case there's too much torque, it will break. But I'm going to make this a completely solid drive line, drive shafts included. So first thing I need to do to get into this, just to jump right in, because I know a lot of folks would be intimidated with something like this, but don't be, my friends. This is something I've already put together, so I know, using my little key here, I'm going to back off the spring to the slipper clutch assembly. And what a slipper clutch does on the spur gear, actually right behind it, take off this spring and lock nut. Let's see if I can get this apart for you guys to see. It's been quite some time. There we go. Come on. Coax it apart. See this thing? It's kind of like a little pad. It acts like a braking unit. So when there's too much torque and something's going to snap, it actually slips a little bit, right? If you have this spring loosened off, it allows a little bit of, I'm having a brain fart right now. Gives it a little bit of slack. There we go. So it doesn't snap everything. So we'll take this off. Glad to see this because I can just give that bearing a little bit of grease. Here's some motor bushing oil, same kind of idea. It is a sealed bushing, my friend, or a sealed bearing, my friends. I know I could be doing better, but for maintenance purposes right now, that will do. It'll soak in there. Okay, so it's been a while since I've done one of these, but they're fairly straightforward. Dun da da da! Level 3 actually supplies hardware with their plate. So let's go ahead, see if I can stumble my way through this with you guys. Looks like 3 lock nuts, or lock washers. Nuts, I guess. Yeah, there we go. So like that, 3 screws, seems fairly straightforward. This and that, a spacer and a washer. Interesting. Okay, so I also have my spacers from before. I'm assuming that with these holes right here, 1, 2, 3, and the hole in the center, this is going to fit on something like that. Now, I noticed that there are divots in this plate, kind of countersunk holes. Is this how that's going to go? I know I need a spacer, but yeah, that's how it's going to go. Okay, so why are those screws so long? Because they really seem not to be needed. All right, so let's just tighten it up anyway. That's the spirit. We'll hack it off with the Dremel. Safety glasses on. All right, so all you watched me do there was cool off this entire piece, because I'll tell you what, grinding on screws in an all metal transmission certainly can raise the temperature of it. So now it's a little bit easier for me to work with. What you're going to see here is I did grind off the back of the screws, right? No big deal. Don't mind doing that at all. But I also went and made them flush with the plate. They have very deep hex wrench holes in them, so I don't mind going in and just making them nice and flat. So just in case there is any play, which there is, right? I don't want it actually giving me resistance with this steel or aluminum, excuse me, actual slipper clutch. Hold on, I'm just getting distracted by watching this pin. Want to get this pin in place. These are the tiniest little things. Check that out. Can't even focus on it. There we go. Tiniest little things. If you lose them, it's a big pain in the butt to try to find. Best thing is work over some carpet in case you drop it, you know, some short carpet so it doesn't go scuttling across the floor. There we go. Make sure, see, you can see on the back there is a little hole, or this little slice where the pin goes, sets in there. There we go. Beautiful. Check that out. No resistance. Perfect. You can't hear anything touching. Wonderful. So there we go. So next goes on the resistance spring. Where did it go? Did it roll away? It certainly did. Right over here. I do want some give in this because everything's steel. I don't want to strip teeth off of it. So I'm doing it all the way up, right? That spring is tight, and then I'm going to go off a half and a quarter. That way it gives me some slip. Done. Problem solved. Now, let's get a quick wipe up here. Okay, so instead of tinkering around, because I have done this before, I went ahead and mounted the motors. It's really simple. 2 mounting holes, 1 for each motor, right? You can see on the top it's identical. The pinion gears are the small drive gears that comes off the motor shaft that goes, of course, to the actual slipper clutch. Now, one of them I went with was a 28 and the other one was a 24. Now, why did I do that? Apart from the fact that I didn't have any other hardened steel pinions that work together, but that is only a coincidence. In fact, I don't mind having a lower tooth pinion gear to help with the low end torque and a little bit of wheel speed of a higher end pinion as well. Now, some of you may argue as well that it'll wear out one motor faster than the other, but my friends, really to me it doesn't matter. I wouldn't say it's going to be a noticeable difference, but the power is going to be great. So when these motors are spinning, it's actually transferring power through the pinions to the giant slipper clutch, goes into the upper gear, into the idler gear, and out to the output shafts. Now, these are solid output drives that I got also from RRP, same place I got all these gears. And I'll tell you what, it's definitely a powerhouse. Now, let's get the actual frame and fit it in for the end of the video. Sometimes I like to leave the camera rolling just to give an idea to people how long it actually takes, right? This stuff takes time, modifying, making it work the way you need it to make it work. 1, 2, there we are. Come on. Thought I had it lined up. There we go. Perfect. Nice. And there we go. Come on there. Perfect. Last tighten up, not over tight. Don't want to strip anything out. Now, check that out. Quite a bit of shadow, but there we go. Rolling freely. Turning 2 motors at the same time. Very nice. Now, will it fit with the back? Let's see. Dun 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 dun. It will. Looks like it's just a little bit too high. That's okay. Nothing I can't trim out a little bit. That's minor. Hey, it almost basically does fit. Look at that. Not bad. Not bad at all. Next, I guess I'll start working on suspension and links. Let's see if we can make some magic with that.